Welcome, everyone, to my book signing for The Scarlet Letter. I am the author, Nathaniel Hawthorne, and yes, I am 211 years old and still going strong. I am here to answer any questions and to sign each and every one of your books. First, let's start with an introduction to the novel. Set in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, this novel takes place in a Puritan community that is governed by their religious beliefs. They uphold strict expectations for their people, and when they are not met, said sinner is punished for even the pettiest offenses. The society is hypocritical in that they are all sinners, yet choose to hide their sins to avoid punishment and maintain their sanctity in the public eye. The novel follows the story of a woman named Hester Prynne who has committed adultery, resulting in a pregnancy of their daughter, who will be named Pearl, against her husband Roger Chillingworth, whom she believed to be dead. He returned home during Hester's first shaming on the scaffold with a new identity. He made it his goal to avenge the father of Pearl's child, whom he quickly discovers to be the Reverend Dimmesdale, a venerated minister of the town. Chillingworth dedicates his life to preying on Dimmesdale through mental torment. Unlike Hester, who finds relief in being open with her sin, Dimmesdale bottles up the secret in order to keep his reputation as a holy and upright man. As a result, the internal guilt is overwhelming for him, so he tries to absolve his sin by abusing himself. Throughout the novel, Dimmesdale is consumed by his guilt, as he is unjustly praised by the unknowing townspeople, while Hester endures public shame and humiliation for their mutual sin. His entire life revolves around his sin, and he fails to see that the only way he can assuage his sin is by being open about his sin, as Hester is.
It's an honor to be asking you a question. I was wondering if you could explain further Dimmesdale's transformation.
Chapter 20, The Minister and the Maze. One of my favorite chapters. After Hester and Dimmesdale, along with Pearl, meet in the forest, Dimmesdale undergoes a transformation. After Hester and Dimmesdale discuss their escape plan, Dimmesdale finally finds hope in a new life, where he can leave the past in New England and leave the guilt behind with it. His exit from the forest and entrance into the town marks a significant change in his character as he interacts with the people he meets along the way. It starts with the minister coming out of the forest.
It is most fortunate that on the 4th day from the present, Hester and I will be departing on the vessel to England. On the 3rd day from the present, I am to preach the election sermon, and as such an occasion forms an honorable approach in the life of a New England clergyman, I could not have chanced upon a more suitable mode and time of terminating my professional career. At least they shall say of me that I have no public duty unperformed nor ill-performed. It seems not yesterday, not 1 or 2, but many days or years ago since I quitted this town. There is an impression of change from the series of familiar objects that present themselves now. I am taken aback by these well-known shapes of human life and their mutability. I also feel a significant change within myself. I feel now that there is a disease eating away at my character. No man for any considerable period can wear one face to himself and another to a multitude without finally getting bewildered as to which may be the truth.
Hello, Reverend Dimmesdale. What a fine day.
Dimmesdale, control yourself. Restrain from uttering these blasphemous suggestions that have arisen in my mind respecting the communion supper. I can hardly avoid laughing, even though I am fearful to exclaim these horrendous statements upon imagining how the sanctified deacon would be petrified for my impiety.
Dimmesdale?
Oh, pardon me. The day is lovely, but I must depart at once.
Oh, Dimmesdale, assist me with your words of wisdom, as you always do. Comfort me with the words of Scripture, for I am grieving the deaths of my beloved husband and children.
Putting my lips to her ear, I cannot recall any scripture to soothe this woman's sorrow about the death of her husband and children. Instead, I am confronted with the sudden revelations of arguments against the immorality of the human soul. If I were to speak this revelation to her, this aged woman may drop dead at once.
What do you mean, Dimmesdale? You have failed to impart on me any distinct idea to my comprehension. Dimmesdale?
Forgive me, but I must leave at once. Goodbye!
Hello, Reverend Dimmesdale.
Satan has led this poor girl to myself, a sorely tempted, lost, desperate man. My sense of power over this virgin soul has struck me with its intensity because she naively trusts me. I could easily corrupt her innocence with just one single look. I must go at once! To celebrate my victory over this last temptation, I am now conscious of another impulse to teach some very wicked words to this knot of Puritan children who are playing there. No, I must deny myself. long to shake hands with the tarry blackguard and recreate myself with a few improper gestures, such as dissolute sailors so abound with in volley of good, round, solid, and satisfactory heaven-defying oaths. What is this that haunts and tempts me thus? Am I mad, or am I given over utterly to the fiend? Did I make contact with him in the forest, and sign it with my blood? And does he now summon me to the fulfillment by suggesting these performance of every wickedness which his most foul imagination can conceive? Has Mistress Hibbins read my thoughts or no? She has come to full stop and is looking shrewdly into my face and smiling craftily.
Reverend sir, you have made a visit into the forest. The next time I pray you allow me only a fair warning, and I shall be proud to bear you your company.
I profess on my conscience and character that I am utterly bewildered as touching the purport of your words. I went not into the forest to seek a potentate, neither do I at any further time design a visit thither with a view to gaining such favor of personage.
Well, well, we must needs to talk thus in the daytime. You carry it off like an old hand, but at midnight and in the forest we shall have other talk together.
Come in.
Welcome home, Reverend Sir. You look pale, as if the travel through the wilderness has been too sore for you. Will not my aid be requisite to put you in good heart and strength to preach your election sermon?
I think to need no more of your drugs, good though they be, and administered by a friendly hand. I thank you from my heart, most watchful friend, and can be requited your good deeds with my prayers.
A good man's prayers are golden recompense.
Dimmesdale rewrote his election sermon with an impulsive flow of thought and emotion.
Thank you for recounting that scene for me. My first question about the scene is, what was the cause of Dimmesdale's sudden energy when he leaves the forest?
After leaving the forest, which the Puritans believed to be the devil's playground, Dimmesdale has finalized his plans with Hester to leave the country. This gives him hope that he and Hester will finally be able to live without shame and start anew after he's been eaten alive by the torment from the guilt of his secret sin.
My question is, what is the change that goes through Dimmesdale and how is it caused?
Dimmesdale made the deliberate choice to leave with Hester, which is a sin, and this is worse than his sin of passion with Hester. This choice to deliberately sin was comparable to a pact with the devil. Therefore, we see that Dimmesdale is choosing the dark side, and that the deal with the devil will influence his actions for the worst, ridding his holy impulses and replacing them with evil ones. We also see Dimmesdale finally letting his guard down with Hester, by allowing himself to accept his love for her instead of repressing his feelings for sake of his reputation. This risk he has just taken is a new experience for him, and he becomes infatuated with the liberation he feels. As a result, he struggles to repress the impulses, such as corrupting others with evil thoughts, as they cascaded into his mind.
Also, can you expand upon the palpable tension between Chillingworth and Dimmesdale?
Hester reveals to Dimmesdale that Chillingworth is her husband, and Dimmesdale understands that Chillingworth was specifically targeting him with torture as revenge. Chillingworth becomes Dimmesdale's physician and housemate in order to keep an eye on him when he discovers that he is Pearl's father. This takes away from Dimmesdale's privacy, so he is almost always in Chillingworth's presence. Chillingworth thrives on Dimmesdale's guilt and reluctance to confess his sin. Dimmesdale was surely shocked to find that Chillingworth was only involved in his life to discover his weaknesses and tear him down in the process. Chillingworth knows that Dimmesdale has realized his relationship to Hester and is finally seen through his vengeance plots. This elephant in the room and the uncertainty of the other's knowledge regarding the other's true identity is the cause of the tension in the room.
I have another question. What is Mistress Hibbins implying in this scene?
Mistress Hibbins is a known witch of the town and claims to have a sixth sense for sinners and others who have chosen to follow the devil. She sees through his mask for the Puritan public and knows that he is a sinner unworthy of the veneration of the public. Even though Dimmesdale denies her accusations, she still is persistent in her claims that her and Dimmesdale will someday meet in the forest together, because she knows the truth that Dimmesdale has been a sinner this whole time.
Can you explain the significance of Dimmesdale's appetite and rewrite of the election sermon?
The Dimmesdale that performs these two actions is meant to foil Dimmesdale prior to meeting with Hester in the forest, before the scene, as if there are two Dimmesdales in this novel. First, regarding Dimmesdale's ravenous appetite, prior to this chapter, Dimmesdale was starving himself in order to appease himself in the guilt and punish himself. At this point, he has made a pact with the devil and no longer is burdened by the guilt and tempted to punish himself through starvation. As for the rewriting of the election sermon, when he initially drafted the sermon, he was a different man who was submissive to the authority and therefore wrote a speech that Puritan leaders would approve of. As a changed man, he rewrites the sermon impulsively, incorporating his own beliefs and his confession, then teachings of Puritanism, similar to how he acted when he was meeting the people he saw on his way into the town. Any other questions for me? Let's get to the book signing. What's up first?